James Melendez, James the Wine Guy. Stay tuned for this video, and this video subject matter is going to talk about Santa Barbara County, so stay tuned. So what do I have in this glass? I have Pinot Blanc coming from Santa Barbara County. Just there, and I was visiting and a general tour of the area as well as a wine bloggers conference. And it was a fantastic visit. And it's one where I think about Santa Barbara County as a wine country that of course is known. And I think it's a wine country that is yet to be discovered. Though discovered, it truly is known. But I think in other ways it needs to be discovered even further and have a greater level of prominence. I think beautiful wines are coming from this region. And what I mean by this simply is I can go to any retailer right now here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I will find the following wines from these regions: Napa, 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 Sonoma, Napa, Sonoma, Napa, Napa, Napa. And yes, I love Napa. There's no doubt about it. I've talked positively about Napa wines. It's not to pick on Napa necessarily, but it's also to put it in a context. That context is simply, you look at wine regions from around the country and you go to your wine retailer. What is the immediate thought there? Well, the thought there is that, well, maybe that only the best wines are presented. And while some really great wines are presented, no doubt about it, I think there's a lot of great assortments out there, that maybe Santa Barbara County wines are not of that stature, and other wine regions from around the country and around the world as well. So I think that's to normalize the region. That is to say, not just normalize. I think it goes beyond that. Foot on ground tours are really essential. Without that, I would really, my mind's cognitive map, though I've been through there, I think I'm always, and I mentioned before, I'm always in a hurry to get to either LA or to San Francisco. Rarely have time to just sit down, stay put, and enjoy this wine region. And obviously I've tasted from this region for a very long time and have really enjoyed it. And that's in spite of movies like Sideways, which, yes, it is a funny movie, no doubt about it. But I think that's a movie that in many ways, it's not really the true gauge of what Santa Barbara County wines are all about. And if you look today, you look online, and it's really hard to find Santa Barbara notations, though I would point out, I'll put Santa Barbara County Vintners Association down below for more information. A great place to look. Wikipedia just doesn't have enough information, unfortunately. Then I looked at this book here, and Jancis Robinson's The Oxford Companion to Wine. And, I did a simple review, and that review was to look at what did they say about Santa Rita Hills. It says, a promising California wine region, 2006. And when I think of something like that, I think, wow, is that, if that was your only impression and this was your book and this is what you look towards to, look for more information on a region, you would look at dated information, not just dated. I would even suspect at that point, that was really not within scope of this region, not just promising, it has arrived. And I would say to look at this region with great, a sense of expectation, a sense of beautiful wines. But that is everything from Italian varieties, Rhone, Burgundy, Bordeaux, and so forth, and Iberian varieties. And I think this is a fantastic wine region that is, I think in my opinion, will be discovered in a much more profound way. Yes, it is discovered. So I want to emphasize that because I don't want anybody to take this out of context. Now, this region was planted with wine grapes in the 18th century by Spanish missionaries, and it wasn't really until about the 70s, early 70s, you're really getting a foothold. But to, again, put that in context, that you find that around the U.S. You'll find regions like Oregon, you'll find New Mexico that really come into play. That is, maybe those say New Mexico might be the late 70s, but ultimately the 70s are really that encapsulation of that wine interest. You have people that are interested in wine, that is the consumers, enthusiasts, those people who appreciate wine, but also those people who are interested in producing wine. When I was at Wine Bloggers Conference in Santa Barbara, in actually Buellton, it was really wonderful to hear Larry Schaefer, who I'm a big fan of his wines, Tercero Wines, Rhone Wines, and I was listening to him introduce and to give a panel discussion with Richard Sanford, Richard Longoria, and Bob Lindquist. And for me, that was a really great panel, and I was just in awe because I know each of these producers' wines pretty well. And like Richard Sanford, that's what we're enjoying right here, his Pinot Blanc. And for me, it was a really humbling experience. And Richard Sanford is one where he goes to wine events and he pours his wines. And I'm like, I'm looking at around like, do you know who this is? And he's such a humble person about every approach. He talks about his I think he studied geography at University of California, Berkeley, and it was after the Vietnam War, and he's wanting to know what to do, and he wants to do something good and honest, and wine is what speaks to him. So, when you look at this region and these beautiful maps, which I love, a huge fan of two things: maps and caps. And yes, I'm sorry that does kind of rhyme, but wasn't intentional. But for me, this is a fantastic region when you think of, over 110 producers. You have over 21,000 acres devoted to wine grape production, and you have a great diversity. You don't have a lot of wine regions around the planet. They're going to have Burgundy varieties planted nearby, or AVAs that are very close to, say, Santa Rita Hills or Santa Maria Valley, that you're producing Rhone varieties, you're producing Bordeaux varieties, you're producing Italian varieties. Fantastic region altogether, and I really recommend to visit. I'll put more information on the Santa Barbara County Vintners Association. It's a great website to glean information from. And I'll put a few producers that I mentioned in this video down below here, so you can look at that. So please stay tuned for this great wine journey. And I really can't wait to get back and to experience Santa Barbara County again. So I have other videos in this series that are going to stand alone, but I definitely want to put together the wine maps with this video. Thank you so much for watching. And you'll find me on most social medias. That is Facebook, Twitter, Vimeo, Google+, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So stay tuned for more.